Yes, sir. It's your boy Jelani Reed, and welcome into the latest edition of Read Between the Lines. That is RBTL. So be sure to head to Instagram and follow at the RBTL show, okay, for more updates on my episodes and my takes. All right. And I'm on YouTube. So like, subscribe, obviously watch it, right? Tell your folks about it. Just trying to grow this show. Okay, we have a lot to discuss today. There's a lot of basketball. Obviously, if you're a basketball fan, you understand what time of year it is. It's March Madness, and we are at the Final Four for both the men's and the women's tournaments. All right, so the men will be at Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis. Okay, they will be playing this weekend, along with the women who will be at the Alamo Dome in San Antonio, Texas. Some great basketball to watch. For baseball fans, you guys know what time it is too. It is about to be opening day. Okay, so baseball is back. And as for NFL, there's always something going on in the NFL. A lot of draft news as of late. And the NBA, obviously in full swing. And that's what I will be touching on today for sure, because there are some teams who continue to get better. Okay, so again, thank you for coming. Thank you for listening and or watching. All right, it's available on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts. But let's do this. So sit back, relax for half an hour plus with me on this day, and let's go. Okay, so let's start with my big one of today's episode. The big one of today's episode will be the East Coast versus the West Coast. And no, I'm not talking about Tupac and Biggie. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the Nets and the Lakers. Okay? The Nets and the Lakers got better. They got better. And why, you ask? Well, the Nets, they signed LaMarcus Aldridge after they just got Blake Griffin. And as for the Lakers, they got Andre Drummond. And this is all through the buyout market. Okay. So when you're looking at it right now, the Nets and the Lakers, ladies and gentlemen, have improved. And we already thought this was going to be the finals anyway. But I have a bit of a problem. I have a bit of a problem with what's going on in the NBA right now. So first of all, let me touch on the buyout problem. Okay. This is an issue because you're basically watching these situations go on where a team will pay a guy to leave and go to another team, a better team, a contending team for cheap. These contenders are getting better for free. Okay? This is troublesome for those who are not contending, who are almost contending but not quite there, or for teams who are in small markets. Why? Because all these big names don't want to play for you and they want to chase championships. Am I going to blame somebody for chasing a championship and wanting a championship? No. But it's just the fact that these good teams, okay, these good teams are getting better for cheap. What happened to understanding competitive nature? Let me look at the Nets first. A lot of people are like, wait, LaMarcus Aldridge is not Portland LaMarcus Aldridge. Blake Griffin is not Lob City Blake Griffin. I get that. You think I haven't been watching basketball for the past few years? I know that. But we already know how good the Nets are with that big three. KD, Kyrie, Harden. We know how good their role players have been this season. Joe Harris, Bruce Brown, right? Those type of guys. Claxton, he's making a name for himself. All these guys on that team, Jeff Green. You're going to add Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge to the fold. Don't act like they can't produce on a championship team. I get they're older. I do. I know that Blake cannot fly like he used to. I know LaMarcus isn't the man like he used to be. But let's not let's not act like these two aren't going to be solid contributors to this championship run. That's why we're flaming KD and these Nets, because we're like, bro, how much more do you need? And I get it. It's the name, LaMarcus Aldridge. It's Blake Griffin, but they can still do something. LaMarcus is going to help stretch the floor. He's going to allow for the lanes to remain open for the big three. All right. He's not going to clog up the middle. He's not a terrible defender, so he will do some things on defense. And Blake, we're seeing it. He doesn't have to be an all-star, but he's going to get good looks. All right. Him and LaMarcus are going to get good looks, open shots. You know what that results in. This Nets team is a super team. And adding Blake Griffin and LaMarcus Aldridge just goes to show how I don't like the buyout market. I think that the NBA has to do something about it. Some agents, some other GMs of smaller market teams, of teams who aren't quite at a contending level or are contenders, but just in a smaller market, they're worried. They're worried right now because they understand that this league becomes a two-team league all the time. And when I'm looking at the Drummond move, I think it's a good move for the Lakers. I think it's a solid move for the Lakers. They needed this. You know, AD's hurt, right? And LeBron's hurt, obviously. But I'm looking at it more of, you know, Montrezl Harrell, they picked him up, but no one really thought that Harrell would be the guy on defense. No one thought that Marc Gasol would be the guy. He's not the same Marc Gasol. He's not. He's older. He's becoming a shell of himself. All right. And plus, losing Dwight Howard, losing JaVale McGee, you need somebody up in there, because people were having a good time in the paint against the Lakers this season. So you get an anchor in the middle. You get probably the best rebounder in the game right now in Andre Drummond. This is a good move for the Lakers. This is a good move. But again, I'm looking at it and I think there's a deeper issue. There's a problem, because if it wasn't the Lakers, you know Drummond was going to go to the Nets. There's a buyout problem, and there's a problem with competitive nature. Again, these Avengers teams are not good. I know they're good because everyone wants to watch them in the finals and things of that nature, but there are 30 franchises for a reason. What is the point of watching the regular season anymore if I know who's going to end up in the finals? This is the one league you could say that about. When you're looking at the NFL, despite the fact that Brady has dominated, this is a league with parity. This is a league where we see different teams elevate and different teams fall year in and year out. It's not the same team all the time. It's not as predictable as the NBA. When you're looking at the NHL, let's go NHL. When you're looking at the NHL, whose playoffs is fantastic, this is a league where we don't see situations of, oh yeah, I know who's going to the Stanley Cup. Yeah, of course. No, you don't. It's a toss-up all the time. It's a toss-up. There's so much parity in the NHL, and I love it. When you're looking at the MLB, 162 games. All right? They're playing every day. The regular season means something. It means a lot because this is a league out of the 4 major leagues that lets in the least amount of playoff teams. It's not half of the league getting into the playoffs, or more than half of the league getting into the playoffs. It's less than that. Okay? That's what makes it more special when you get to the playoffs. And when you're there in the MLB, you don't know who's coming out. There's no dynasty that we've seen in a minute in baseball because it's not as predictable. But the NBA now, it's like we have lost our way in terms of competition. We just want to join each other. We just want to join who's ever on top. We just want to join and get a free ring. Is that what we're on now? Is that what this is all about now? Free rings? We got to do something about this. And I'm talking about KD right now. I know LaMarcus is not Portland Aldridge. I get it. But you're going to act like KD didn't have something to do with this. He recruited Aldridge. I know he had something to do with Blake. I know he had something to do with Harden. This guy cannot get it done without a super team. And you have to look at it. Does this hurt his legacy? If he wins 4 or 5, I mean, it's hard to argue that. Like, those are 4 and 5 rings. Let's say they go on a stretch, the Nets do. But at the end of the day, when you're looking back on his legacy, you saw what he did in Golden State. You saw what he's doing, or you see what he's doing in Brooklyn. Dude can't get it done without a super squad. And I would love for you to go against that notion, because you cannot. You can't. It's just a fact. So the last thing before I move on, I just want this Nets group, because I'm looking more at the Nets than the Lakers, okay? Drummond was a good pickup. Obviously, again, you wish that other teams had a chance at him, but it didn't look so. But I'm looking at the Nets because if you don't get this done, this is the biggest collapse. This is the biggest disappointment we have ever seen. Maybe in sports. Maybe in sports. Not just NBA history, maybe in sports history. You need a ring. You guys are the favorite. You guys have a juggernaut. You guys got a big 3. You guys are the Monstars in Space Jam. That's you. KD, you wanted a super team now. Again, you better get it done. It's that simple. But let's move on to the countdown. I went off a bit too long in the big one. But again, look, I like competition in the NBA. That's what I like. I don't like it being 2 teams. I just don't like it. What's the point of regular season anymore? What's the point of other small market teams? Like, what's the point of 30 teams if everybody is going to join one squad? I thought we were done with super teams. That's what I thought. But let's go to the countdown. Okay, so the daily countdown is going to start with the trade deadline recap. All right, didn't touch on this. Winners. I'm looking at one of the winners of the trade deadline being the Chicago Bulls. I love the move for Vucevic. I love it. Okay, he's a guy putting out 24 and I believe 11 at this time for Orlando. He's been an all-star twice before. All right, people have slept on him because he's in Orlando. I understand nobody's watching the Magic, but he is a good player. Okay, Nikola Vucevic. He's going with Zach LaVine. That's my guy. You guys know this already. They are indicating that they're moving in a better direction. They want to be noticed now. They have Billy Donovan, a good coach. They have a young core. You're looking at Zach. You're looking at Kobe White. You're looking at Markkanen. Now you have Vucevic, who can ball. They're indicating that they want this. They want to make the playoffs. We'll see what happens. We'll see if they're in the play-in or not. But moving forward, I think this is a good move. So the Bulls get that and Tice. All right, so they shore up the inside, and also Tice could hit some perimeter shots just like Vucevic. So you know what? I like what the Bulls have done. I really do. Another winner, Denver. All right, Denver, great job getting Aaron Gordon, another former Orlando player. Aaron Gordon. He's one guy that we don't really know what he is, right? We don't know truly what he can provide. But what I do know is he's athletic. All right. I think he's an improvement from Jeremy Grant. I think he's an improvement. He does the same things that Grant can do, but I think better. And we saw what Grant did in that bubble. He came up big, right? So I think this is a good move for the Denver Nuggets. They're a team to watch. I think that they're going to finish probably middle of the pack in the West, just because how good the West has been. But in the playoffs, having that athleticism, having a guy who can play defense against opposing guys like LeBron, like the bigger forwards. This is a big move for Denver. Huge. Okay, huge. And then a third team I'm looking at is LA in the Clippers, right? Rondo. I mean, this is great because this is a guy who provides leadership. This is a voice in the locker room. They don't even have that. I know they have Serge. I don't know how much he's the voice in the locker room, but Paul George, it doesn't seem like he's that guy that gets them going in terms of heart and soul on the team. Kawhi, he could be that. He's that good to be that. But let's face it, he just doesn't talk that much. He doesn't. So, and that's also what they were missing in the bubble when they lost to Denver. They were missing a voice. They were missing a voice, a guy who could get these guys to be more passionate. That is Rajon Rondo. Okay. And remember, the Clippers wanted him in free agency. So they've been wanting Rondo. This is a good pickup for them, especially in this Western Conference. You're going to need some Rough Riders. You're going to need a voice to get you guys over the edge, right? When something's not going right, that's Rondo now, who will talk to people, who will even talk to Kawhi. He will talk to Kawhi if needed, okay? If needed. And also on the floor, he's a guy that can bring the ball up and get guys open looks. He could get guys involved. Kawhi doesn't have to always do everything on his own now. That's Rondo. But I want to see what Rondo can do once he gets in the flow of things in LA. But I like this pickup basketball wise, getting creative on the floor, getting people involved, getting guys some good looks. And I'm looking at it from a team chemistry and character perspective, because he's a guy you want as a voice in your locker room. Rajon Rondo, great pickup. Now, a loser, Houston, right? They get rid of Oladipo for nothing. And now you're looking at just what they gave up. What they got back in the James Harden trade. Nothing. A bag of chips. The Houston Rockets are losing their way. They need to tank. It appears as though they are. All right. You got to start from scratch. I don't know what's going on in Houston. I cannot explain it to you. All right. And also they're losing games left and right. So you have to tank. You have to. But another loser I'm looking at is Boston. I think Boston getting Fournier, Evan Fournier, he could play. All right. He could give you 20 a night. That's for sure. But I mean, I thought that they would do more. And I thought that they would have a stronger pursuit for Andre Drummond in the buyout market. They did pursue him. They had a meeting, didn't work. Danny Ainge. Again, what's going on in Boston? You wonder why they're 7th in the Eastern Conference. They're not playing to the level they should. I think they're missing a few parts inside. I think they need a better option inside, interior-wise. I don't know what's going on in Boston. And also there's issues with Brad Stevens. A lot of people are like, is his voice, not having the same impact in the locker room? Danny Ainge, not being a guy to really pursue these deals that he always mentions all the time. And you wonder why Boston keeps missing out on people that they need. I thought that they would do more this trade deadline. I don't mind Fournier, but also his start in Boston, not pretty, over 10. He'll be fine. But I don't know. I guess this is making up for the loss of Hayward in terms of points. I don't know. But yeah, Boston, I think that they could have done better. In Toronto, we lost Norm Powell. This is sad. This is not what we wanted to see. Norm, look, personally, I thought Norm would be an option moving forward for us. I thought that as Raptors fans, we were looking at Pascal Siakam, we were looking at Fred VanVleet, looking at OG Anunoby, along with Norm Powell to be the pillars moving forward. All right, the 4 pillars, the 4 guys moving forward in the next Raptors era. So losing Norm sucks. He doesn't look right in Portland, but we thank him for just how hard he worked with the Toronto Raptors. He obviously, without him, you don't know if we're winning that title. Everyone played a role, and he played a big role in that. Norm Powell, you understood the grind, and I still understand it, Norm. So we thank you. We thank you, and we wish for nothing but the best. Portland got a good one, a guy who's finally coming into his own. Remember, he was a bit inconsistent, Norm Powell. Okay, let's just face it. Let's be real. But this season, he is really showing up. He has become that guy. Okay, so Norm going to Portland, that helps Dame, that helps CJ. Another 20, another guy that could get 20 per game. So yeah, that's what I'm looking at. And I'm also looking at Kyle Lowry. He wasn't traded. So he's still in Toronto, but how long? Because we're looking at the offseason. This is going to be critical. Do we, come to an agreement in terms of the Raptors and Kyle that, okay, yeah, Kyle wants to go to a contending team. He would love to finish a Raptor, but he wants to contend. If that's the case, don't just let him walk away. All right, we've seen Kawhi leave for nothing. We've seen Marc Gasol leave for nothing. Serge Ibaka leave for nothing. Danny Green leave for nothing. Hello, do we want this to happen again with Kyle Lowry, who I know he's older, but some team might want to offer up something. All right, we need something in return. Thus, go do a sign and trade. If he wants to go, do a sign and trade. You must. You can't just let him walk for nothing. We missed the ball on the trade deadline because the Heat didn't want to let go of Hero. The Lakers didn't want to let go of THT, Taylor Horton Tucker. So we dropped the ball on that. We didn't get people back or young parts back. We didn't get that. We wanted a young guard, didn't get that back in a deal for Kyle Lowry. So you need to think about this off season. Does Kyle want to stay? If he wants to stay, fine, that's great. I don't want him to go. But if he wants to leave, you have to do a sign and trade, or else you lose him for nothing. All right. But I do like the fact that we got Gary Trent Jr. I think he's going to be solid. He's young. He's athletic. Another perimeter defender. He could also hit shots. All right. You've seen him hit some nice three-pointers in the bubble. And this season, he's gone off a few games. He could get hot. And also, he could obviously hit that mid-range along with Rodney Hood. Inconsistent, but he can fit the mold. He can fit this system. All right, just give it some time. But I do think we did get some good parts back in the deal with Norm, but I'm going to miss Norm. All right. Now let's move to the NFL draft. So there's a lot of talk around the draft. This is the time of year where pro days are happening. And, some people are getting fatigue of some prospects and ranking them lower than they should. Justin Fields. So, yeah, this trade happened between the Dolphins, the Niners, and the Eagles. So the Dolphins, they sent shockwaves around the NFL, okay, because they traded their number 3 pick to the 49ers in exchange for the number 12 pick this season, a first and third round pick in 2022, and a first round pick in 2023, okay? Then Miami, they continued their dealing, okay? Just right after that, they continued because they sent that 12th pick that they got from the Niners, the number 123 pick, and their first round pick in 2022. They traded that to the Eagles in exchange for the number 6 and number 156 pick in this year's draft. So a lot of deals were made a few days ago, a lot of picks going all over the place. I think the winner, the Dolphins, I think that you get a lot of, draft capital. I'm looking at them at 6. Do they want to get a wide receiver? I think this is what it indicates. They were at 3. They could have gotten a quarterback. You still can at 6. I don't think they will. I think they believe in Tua. which they should give him a chance. Just give Tua a chance. All right. He's surrounded with maybe another guy, Jamar Chase, Kyle Pitts, in your tight end group. There's guys on the board available to you. Do you want to stick with Alabama and get Smith for Tua and carry on that duo? So I'm looking at that, and I think getting all these picks, that's a big W. But I'm looking at the Niners. This is very interesting. The Niners are the number 3 pick now. And they keep stressing that they don't want to move off of Jimmy Garoppolo. Remember, Jimmy G, he's a winner. He wins you games. He wins a lot of games, in fact. But there are 2 problems. He's expensive and he gets hurt all the time. It seems like he cannot stay healthy. So this provides insurance. This is an insurance move. Okay. This is a move where they see a guy, they might look at a guy, maybe Justin Fields, who I think, that's what I think. All right. A lot of people are saying Mac Jones, my guy from Alabama. I don't know, probably. But this provides insurance, and this is probably a guy who they'll sit behind Jimmy. Obviously, because it keeps, again, stressing the fact that they want Jimmy. They believe in Jimmy. Hey, I don't know what the Niners are going to do, but getting a quarterback here, you build him up in your offense with Shanahan. I think it would be a great fit for whoever goes there. Okay, whatever young quarterback goes to a playoff caliber team is set up for success, because the Niners are going to the playoffs. They're going to be healthy. Okay, so it's going to be very interesting to see what happens here. But yeah, and then as for the Eagles, just touch on them in this deal. They get 3 firsts very soon. I think that's next year. So you might have to ask yourself, are they looking at a QB eventually? Maybe not this draft, but what if Jalen Hurts doesn't come through? Is that a question you have to ask? Can we believe in Jalen Hurts? Did we make a mistake on Jalen Hurts? So that's interesting. But sticking with the NFL, they will be doing something with their schedule. Okay, they're adding another game. This was proposed a while back. So now we already know 17 weeks, 16 games. Now we have another week. Okay, so there are going to be 17 games, 18 weeks. Do we need this? I love football. You see my shirt. I'm a Cowboys fan. If you're watching me on YouTube, you see my shirt. But I'm a huge football fan, and I do not mind more football, but I'm just looking at it right now. And I know you're removing a preseason game to make this happen, but the NFL is being hypocritical. I said it. They're being hypocritical. You guys stress the need for player safety. You guys always talk about needing to perform player safety. The NFL is like, yes, we want to limit concussions. Yes, we want to limit terrible injuries. We want to make the game of football safer for not only our current players, but our future players. And yet you do this. You give us one more game. You know why. It's money. Money, 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 money. Yeah, that's what it is right now, NFL. We know this, but not caring about players' health, that is hypocritical. What do we need this for? The schedule was fine. It was fine. There needed to be no change. Like, no change was necessary here, but we know this is a money grab. The Super Bowl will be pushed a week, so it won't be the first week, or the first Sunday, of February. It will be the second Sunday of February. I don't know. I don't think we needed this. And especially when you stress the fact that you need player safety. People can get hurt by adding that extra game. Did you not think of that? Imagine one of your superstars, Aaron Rodgers, let's say he has to play in that 17th game to clinch an NFC North title, for example. Let's say, Lord forbid, he gets hurt and is out for the playoffs. What if that happens to Mahomes, Lamar Jackson? Like, I don't like this. I don't like it. It's for money. And you wonder why average player careers are 3 years in the NFL. You wonder why, because they don't care. Hypocritical. All right. And quickly, I'm looking at the Ravens. All right, going to Baltimore. They have struggled this offseason to get themselves weaponry. I always spoke about this. I even spoke about it when they lost in the playoff game to Buffalo. They need weapons for Lamar Jackson. And again, they have missed on a lot of them. This free agency, a lot of wide receivers available, have missed on most of them. They just signed Sammy Watkins, but can he stay healthy? And how good is he? Is he a guy that could really take the top off of the offense? I don't think so. I don't think so. T.Y. Hilton, Juju Smith-Schuster, Kenny Golladay. You couldn't get your hands on Allen Robinson. I mean, what are the Ravens doing? You need wide receivers. Willie Snead is gone. And I'm not even going to blame wide receivers for this, because if you really look at their offense, the Ravens are obviously run heavy. And when they do pass the ball, it's not like the ball is going deep down the field, right? It remains an offense where you see a lot of running from Lamar or from the backfield with your running backs and just dumping it off to the tight end. So if I'm a wide receiver, I don't want to go to Baltimore. I wouldn't want to go to Baltimore. That's just me. So the Ravens have to really look at this and ask themselves, what are we doing wrong? Do we have to switch things up? Can Lamar develop his passing even more? Because that, you wonder why. You wonder why people don't want to go there. You keep asking yourself, why aren't people going to the Ravens? Why aren't receivers going to the Ravens? And that is why. But now let's go to the baller alert and disappointing alert of the day before I wrap up. So the baller alert has to be Paige Buckets. Paige back. Sorry, something just popped up on my screen. Oh, it's a message. Okay, so yeah, Paige Bueckers. All right, excuse that. So Paige Bueckers, AP Player of the Year, the first freshman to get it done. All right, first freshman. She came and she has been invincible. All right, let's look at what she's done. She's 2021 AP First Team All-American, Big East Player of the Year, Big East Freshman of the Year, the Big East Tournament Most Outstanding Player, All Big East First Team. The list goes on and on. She was a phenom ever since coming out of high school. So Paige Bueckers, like, bro, she's putting everyone on notice. She's putting everyone on notice. So shout out to Paige Bueckers for becoming the AP National Player of the Year as a freshman. Okay, she's averaging 20. She's averaging 20 on 4 and 5 assists a game. All right, plus 2 steals. So when you're giving me 20 points, 4 rebounds, 5 assists, 2 steals, I'll take that. I will take that. But the disappointing alert of the day, the disappointment alert of the day, it has to be what happened in a game that featured Paige Bueckers. It was Baylor, it was UConn. Okay, it was Baylor, it was UConn. And I was cheering for Baylor. I like Baylor's team, and they were going to win this game had a foul been called. All right, literally, Dejanay Carrington has the ball. All right, there's like 5 seconds left in the game or whatever. Pulls up, takes a shot, literally gets hacked by 2 of UConn's players, no foul. Really? Everyone has come out and has gone against this. It's egregious. It's terrible. I don't know how you missed that. I really don't. It was a great game, but it shouldn't have ended that way. But side note, if you're Baylor, though, you can't expect to win the game after Dee Richards, your Defensive Player of the Year, after she goes out, right? And they go UConn that is, goes on a 19-0 run down the stretch. You can't expect to win that game after letting that happen to you. But just the fact that the ref was there, everyone in the building saw it, everyone on TV saw it, everyone on social media saw it. This is work of the referees. This is obviously for ratings. You need UConn for ratings. You need Paige Beckers for ratings. It's terrible though. Just to miss that call, she would have went to the line, probably forced an overtime that we would have loved to watch, but of course not. So yeah, that's the disappointment alert of the day, along with the baller alert being Paige Beckers. But be sure to watch some of those games this weekend. The women's Final Four. You got Stanford, South Carolina. You got UConn, Arizona. It's going to be something. It's going to be something special. Okay, I got South Carolina playing UConn in the final. And as for the men's, I didn't touch on that. I'm going to say that Gonzaga, like who are they going to lose to? I don't know. So I have them. I really, really want UCLA to win that game with Juzang, how he went off against Michigan. Hello. Wow. So I'm looking at that. But then on the other side, I think Baylor is going to get it done. So I'm looking at Gonzaga versus Baylor. Who's going to win that? I'm going with Baylor. I'm going with Baylor. Why? Because, again, I just can't trust Gonzaga yet. I can't do it. Until they show me they can win the championship, I'm not going to trust them. I'm not. So that's that. And as for the women's, my prediction for that final that I said, South Carolina, UConn, I think it might be UConn. They're just too good. They're like 5 deep. All right. When you're talking about people having a duo or having a big 3, UConn has a big 5 or a big 4. All right. They're great. They're great to watch. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But guys, that's all I have for you today. So thank you so much for listening to this show. All right. This is Jelani Reed. You know my name already. Be sure to follow at the RBTL show on Instagram. Obviously, Northside Talks _. Don't forget the _. Follow that on Instagram for more sports updates and news alerts. I hope you guys are safe. Hope you guys are healthy. And I'll see you next time.